Chapter 21 Applause. Jessie handed the binoculars to Pixie and continued to draw in a nature notebook. They have 5 eggs so far, but the female might keep laying. Canada geese typically have eggs clutched of 2 to 9 eggs. Jessie, Pixie, and Evan were lying on their stomach watching the nest. They knew to keep their distance. That's why they had the binoculars. I'm glad I get to see it in person, said Pixie. The picture in the paper was too small. I know, said Jessie indignantly. She thought the picture should have been on page 1, but instead it was on page 12. At least the reporter wrote a nice long article about her and spelled her name right. That was important too. Jessie told me you were in summer school, said Pixie, handing the binoculars to Evan. I did summer school a couple of times. It was hard to be in class when all my friends were having fun. Yeah, said Evan, but I'm halfway through. He didn't add, and Reed stopped coming. Reed hadn't shown up for class on Monday, and he'd been absent every day since then. Evan didn't know why, and he didn't ask. It helped me, said Pixie. She stretched out Superman style in the dry summer grass and pulled up a tiny weed with a purple flower on it. Do you think it's helping you? Definitely, Evan nodded. It's okay. I'm teaching a friend to play basketball. Well, HORSE, not really basketball. He's pretty small. That's nice, said Pixie. I bet you're a good teacher like Jessie. I'm the best teacher because I teach things that are real, said Jessie, taking the binoculars from Evan. She liked looking at the geese from a safe distance. It was like being a scientist in the field. Plus, she didn't have to get near the goose poop. Well, said Pixie, it was really nice that you organized all the kids from class to come to my house. I like to organize, said Jessie. It meant a lot to me, and it meant a lot to my mom that you all thought I was a good teacher, even if Mrs. Richer didn't. Oh, forget Mrs. Richer. What does she know? You're the best teacher of unreal things I ever knew. You should teach something real like science or math. Pixie laughed, and Jessie remembered how much she liked Pixie's laugh. I'm just going to concentrate on finishing college, said Pixie. That's enough for me. And I'm just going to concentrate on finishing summer school, said Evan. That's enough for me. Jessie is still looking at the geese through the binoculars, tried to think about what would be enough for her. Not so long ago, she had thought it would be enough if only she could win the bridge building contest. That wasn't going to happen. In fact, when she realized she couldn't even enter the contest, she'd thrown away all her work, her sketches, her calculations, her model bridges. What good were they now? They were geese living on her bridge, and they weren't going to give her a blue ribbon. They weren't going to give her anything for all her hard work. To make matters worse, the next day, David Kay had shown her an article he'd found on the internet in which a very famous theoretical physicist who was also a professor at Dartmouth College argued that fairies absolutely exist in some universe, even if they might not exist in ours. She had not liked that article. The professor was a scientist. He said that fairies existed. Jessie felt very mixed up by this mixing up of science and magic. But then a thought occurred to her as she watched the geese walk side by side along her bridge. Things can exist side by side. There was something magic-like about the way a baby bird could pack its way out of a shell and find the whole world waiting on the other side, just as there was something magic-like about the way an arch bridge could stand for thousands of years without anything holding it together. Maybe there was enough room in the universe for both science and magic. It was a difficult thought for Jessie, and she returned to looking at her bridge for reassurance. Wait, what was that? A flash of magenta, a sparkle of light. Jessie focused the binoculars closely on the space underneath the bridge. Katrina's trolls, one on each side, their arms uplifted, protecting the geese and her bridge. Jessie felt a great wave of happiness that they were there, just where they belonged. One of the geese honked loudly and beat its wings together 3 times. "Applause!" shouted Jessie with glee, and that was enough for her. "Honk, honk! This is Jessie's bridge. The geese are just borrowing it."